Welcome to the Rural and Business Modeling for Digital Platforms, targeting services in rural areas. In this session, we will take you through the final 3 steps, describing the segments in the platform canvas: monetization, stimuli and metrics. Let's start by looking at step 5. This part in the lower section of the canvas actually consists of 2 segments: cost model and monetization. In cost model to the left, we are to list costs that is needed to run the platform and investments needed to reach its potential. This will, for example, consists of costs for technology, staff, licenses, hardware, marketing, development, facilities, etc. In short, all costs related to create and run your business over time. As said previously, the creation of the many times technical facilitation needed for the interaction to happen on the platform comes with costs. What costs are they? Well, you need to, for example, consider what kind of IT solution you will run the platform on. How costs for this will change when you need to scale as your platform grows. What kind of roles and number of staff is needed to be able to support and promote the platform in a good way? Is there a need to pay additional licenses for use of third-party solutions to help us reach certain functions and value propositions? The list of questions for potential costs goes on. As for any business, costs might vary over time. And for digital platforms, the scalability usually is a driver for changes in costs. Depending upon how you look at this, costs might go up or down, total costs might increase, but costs per user at the same time decrease. But they will change, and a suggestion here is to consider describing this in phases. Perhaps related to situations in time when a certain amount of users or transactions are reached on the platform. By then you might need to scale, for example, server capacity. Or another example, as you launch a specific function on the platform, costs will change due to implementation and use of certain technology needed for this function. To the right we find monetization, where you are to explain the strategy, plan and mechanisms that will help you to generate revenue from the platform. What on the platform will cost money for users? Will it be based on memberships, entering fees, transaction fees, use of data, generation of reports, or what type of charges of use do you anticipate? The options are many, and nothing is really right or wrong here. One big challenge for coming up with a monetization plan is to balance this with the plan for growth of users on the platform. Many consumers will attract producers, and vice versa. But if thresholds for entering the platform, for both these sides, are too high due to non-attractive monetization models, then the platform might never ever take off. Do your homework. Use, for example, your already identified substitutes that consumers and producers have. What kind of monetization models are they already familiar with? What is already accepted and commonly used? How does your solution compare with those, and where can you place the value of what your platform delivers in that comparison? Equally as important is to understand what users find to be disturbing and bad solutions. Within here lays opportunities if you can deliver the same function, but with an alternative, more attractive monetization solution. In the same way as for costs, monetization might vary over time, and the model doesn't have to be static. Therefore, try to find steps or phases that you can divide also your monetization plan into. Free services can become chargeable when, for example, more data brings more value to the service. Freemium can become premium if we use a platform term. Or as a specific service or group of services increases in use, reports and analysis of such services can become highly valuable for new segments on both consumer and producer sides, which can create additional revenue streams. Many platforms use advertisement as an additional revenue. Will this suit this platform? A very important question to bring to the table. When you have come up with a plan for how your costs and revenue streams look over time, please then also do a combined outline of this. A budget or prognosis, where you can spot lack of finance and also important points of break-even, profit, and return of investments in relation to time in your plan. Your insights and knowledge of this will be very useful when talking to investors and stakeholders, trying to sort out your identified financial needs for making your platform the success you're aiming for. Moving on to step 6. Stimuli. Let us begin by drawing a distinction between value propositions and stimuli. as we know that they might get a bit mixed up. Generally, value propositions are always available on the platform. When you use a certain service, you are also supposed to reach one or more values that is carried by that service. Stimuli is values that are only reachable in certain moments of time, or at certain stages. They are limited, and can also stand free from the platform. To some extent you can see this as marketing, but perhaps a more correct definition are events and activities that relates to the platform with limited time and access. Stimuli are there to attract new users to onboard, and further engagement for already onboard users to happen. Activities that you plan to use for such actions is what you should add to the segment of stimuli. Stimuli can also be related to activities that occur outside the platform. An example can be that in relation to your platform's area of business, there is a larger annual fair occurring. For visitors to this fair, that most likely are within your targeted segments, you can, for the valid period of the fair, provide specific discounts or other offers if they onboard and use the platform. Other such activities can be to team up with specific vendors, draw competitions, promote limited discounted services, or any bridges or entry smoothers that you can come up with to draw attention and users to the platform. Do not forget to also have offerings that target users already on the platform. Their satisfaction of being part of the platform is very important, and can bring new users by them just giving recommendations. The segment of stimuli on the platform canvas is potentially one of the most dynamic and playful part, where there are many things to try out. There might even be that very successful stimuli activities or variations that origin from such can become permanent on the platform and then transform to a value proposition. And now, let us dive into the final segment in our explanation of the platform canvas. Metrics. Metrics are a very interesting and important driver for continuous improvement and development of the platform. To be able to know and understand what is happening on the platform, you need to monitor this. To be understandable and useful over time, the monitored data can be put into predefined metrics and key performance indicators, in short KPIs. Such metrics can on one hand be relatively straightforward, answering questions like how many transactions do we have per certain time frame, per service, per producer or consumer segments. How are users searching and exploring the platform? What are interesting search objects right now? How long does it take to order? Those are examples of metrics that can come with the platform system that you build your platform on. But do not take this for granted, you need to check what the possible basic functions in your system are, and how you can use them. On the other hand, metrics can also be more complex, and provide information on a higher layer, and with different perspectives. You should try to think about what specific interests, for example investors, stakeholders, service providers, and users might have need for. Any specific use of services coming from specific segments might bring a higher quality of life, for example. How can this be measured and monitored with help of the platform? To have a proper brainstorm on this involving many different roles and parties is a good suggestion. Monitoring as such often comes with technical demands and challenges. It is therefore necessary that this has been thought through, as it sets demands on the segment of facilitation and technology needed. To be understandable and comparable, please also spend some time on how metrics are presented and explained. It is also good to start monitoring as soon as the platform is launched, to be able to track changes and act upon them. Still, as the platform grows and evolves, the need for metric will also change, so yes, even this segment needs to be looked upon in a dynamic and changeable way. Okay then, now we have gone through all the segments in the platform canvas, and you have hopefully started to work with it to create the business model for your digital platform. At this stage, we would like to remind you of some final points. 1. See the platform canvas as a landing place for how you define your business model. All of the background work that you need to do will never fit to be described in whole on the canvas. This is a place to summarize and build expressions that you and your team can relate to and mutually understand and agree upon. 2. It is a place of dynamic and continuous work. Create a master canvas that is valid for what you do and seek to achieve at the moment. But continue to also have one or several working canvas going where you try out and discuss new ideas. And finally 3. Keep being extra clear, precise, and updated on how you define and present your value propositions. When we now have come this far, what's left is for you to be able to present your business model. In the next and last episode, we will give you some tips and guidelines on how this can be done. With your platform canvas as a base, you are then to put together a pitch that can be used when presenting your digital platform in various situations. See you. And as always, please send Henrik or Ola an email, and they will get back to you with any questions you might have.